Hello guys, welcome back to Me Reviews for another episode. So today we're talking about a superhero movie actually on this one. It's one of those modern superhero movies that come out actually 10 years ago, really. So like 10 years ago. And as the title suggests, is Man of Steel. This is from 2013. This is directed by Zack Snyder and also Christopher Nolan produced. Now, to be completely honest, I'm not a fan of Superman, really. I've never really seen the Christopher Reeve Superman movies, really. I might have seen them briefly on TV, but I never really got into them. The only other one I actually saw was Superman Returns, not in the cinema, but on TV one time, and I thought, it's not good. I'm not, I've probably seen the advertisement of it at the time, really, but I never really got into it. I've seen Superman Returns. I found like it's not really good, really. Indeed, it's not not the best films, really, in terms of everything else, and about it really. So Man of Steel, I only knew about it because I was watching the Christopher Nolan Batman movies at the time. So when the Dark Knight Rises finished, of course, there was some talks of something about rebooting Superman again. So this would have been 6-7 years after Superman Returns, and so this would have been again 2012, 2013, obviously when it came out. Because Nolan was producing. I've only been like directing it or something like that, like he did with the Batman films. Like Warner Brothers wanted to shift him onto the next one, really. So as a sort of go-to director. Wasn't the case. In actual fact, it's Zack Snyder, who I've seen a few of his films actually. I've seen Watchmen, his version of Watchmen, and Dawn of the Dead, as well as remake from 2004. Bits of 300 as well. So I've seen bits of his work. Trying to think what else. I think that's all this. I've never seen Sucker Punch. I've never seen that one. I've never seen Batman v Superman either. Or his Justice League. Well, there's a Josh Green version, and his version, his 4-hour version, something like that. So for years I just never watched it. It's only until I watched this on night shift, actually quite recently, like on a recent few weeks ago actually, and I thought, oh, okay, we'll just go through this really, and it's an interesting experience. It's got a good cast. I've got to say, Henry Cavill really good. A good attempt, a good version. And he looks good as Superman, but the material there and also with the films he's got is not very pleasant, really. Kevin Costner is in this as well, as the father, really. And who else? Is it Amy Adams? I think it is, as Lois Lane. It's got Michael Shannon as Zod in this one. I mean, good cast, but everything else is a bit strange, really. So, obviously, the whole thing with Superman, he's an alien from Krypton, ends up on Earth. The Kents raised him on the farm. He grows up, and he starts to develop his powers. He starts, becoming who he really is, in a way, like he's on his full potential. Basically find out who he is, really. But the thing is, it's too glossy. It's too glossy. I find this with some of the Zack Snyder films. Really, it's like it's got this color palette, this sort of grainy color palette. It's too glossy. It's also too manic as well on the ears, especially at the end of the fight scene with Superman and Zod. Really, towards the end, which actually destroys the whole freaking metropolis. It does in a way, like in a bomb site. Oh yeah, and obviously Lewis and Clark make out over the sea ruins, probably when thousands of people are dead. Really, it has this mean-spirited quality to it. It does. Anyway, this brashness and everything else, and it carries from. You sort of get this throughout his films. Really, it's this sort of like overeager brashness, like sort of carries in his filmmaking, in his stories and stuff. It is quite great. It's also just a bit weird as well in places. There's the whole thing involving Clark going back to the ship, really finding the ship, or sort of like the Fortress of Solitude, really, in a way. basically the ship. And also, I didn't know this actually. Trying to sort of a bit strange for me. I think the thing that got me was when Lewis gets shot and Clark heals her by zapping his laser vision on a flesh wound. It's a bit okay. That's a bit weird in a way. I don't know if that's ever been used in comics or any other films. I'm not entirely sure, but I thought it was a bit strange, really. So yeah. You've also got Hans Zimmer as well in doing the music as well. And I find it comes that promote is that wallpaper sound really. I always find it's like again, wallpaper music does it for the film. It's just like you just say for the visuals, never mind music, everything else. Compared to what his other scores were doing. Obviously in the late 80s, early 90s, stuff like that. And obviously coming off the Dark Knight trilogy and Inception, working with Christopher Nolan. It's just one of those things really. And obviously, sort of retired from that. He sort of come back a bit in a couple of years, a few years ago with stuff like Dark Phoenix and stuff. It's interesting that I've seen this film now, seen actually what Zack Snyder's vision was, and it kicks off the whole DCU thing, which is, to be honest, I think with James Gunn now firmly in charge now with the DCEU, it's like, I think we might get some good traction because obviously James Gunn went for the MCU before the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy, really. He's going to bring his own thing, and also what he's learned on there to the DC universe, which is better because when he first started, it was just a haphazard bloody mess. It was. Yeah, there's some good films out. There's some decent films out, like Shazam. Yeah, and maybe that's about it really. Just Shazam really, because everything was all muddled and a bit messed up really. Because obviously, what Aquaman 2 coming out soon, or early this year, around this time, or next year somewhere. I don't know. But it was quite a bit of a mess from the get go when you just introduce this new version of Superman. Then you go to Dawn of Justice. It's like having total whiplash. Really, it's like doing a 180. You should really build it up first. Like what the MCU had done when they first started out. But Marvel was just like, it's like, they go for the gun and then they sort of jump the shark afterwards, don't they? It's like, fuck me. There's no build up really. You sort of introduce them here. Well, there is sort of build up, but it's not as good really. Anyway, they don't have individual films firstly to start off, then go off in that one. You could have just done like you just done Man of Steel, then you should have done like the Dark Knight Returns, really, just like solely the Dark Knight Returns, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and then you go sort of like do Dawn of Justice in a way, or Batman v Superman, really, just like a build up, sort of leading up to it. That should have been the thing really, but there we go. To be honest, I have nothing else to say about this film. It's, I can see why I don't really like Superman as much, really. People do, fair enough. If you like Superman, fair enough. I'm not really keen on it. I never grew up with Superman, really. I've only seen it, through pop culture, maybe a little bit on TV, really. I've seen Batman more, really, because I had two of the films growing up, really. One Tim Burton, one Joel Schumacher film, obviously, when I was growing up. And, yeah. That's all I can say about Man of Steel from 2013. Now we come to another one, actually. I think, well, I should have already plugged this with another foreign film, really. So we're talking about Climax from 2018. So this is a French film, this is. It's an interesting one, this is, because this is actually one I seeked out because I was interested to find out more about this one. Actually, what was the resolution, really? So this is a French film to do with a group of dance students. They come off like a rehearsal and they have a party in this massive dance hall, really. And as the night progresses, someone poisons the what's it called, Sangi or something like that, Sagnia or something like that. It's like a punch, really, and everyone starts going trippy and starts aggressively attacking each other as the film progresses, really. So they start off as friends, mutual friends, and everything else like that sort of thing, as a clique, really. And they sort of separate and start killing each other. There's one bit of a scene really involving one of them's pregnant, and they think she's lying, so they end up beating the shit out of her, kicking her to death, really. And you think like, oh god, really? I think that's your first reaction to that film. It's like, okay. There's some deaths in this one. There's there's a kid, there's a small kid who's in this. I think it's like a dance instructor's son or whatever. And when the party goes haywire, she locks him in a little cupboard or a small room, really, and basically leaves him there well, leaves him there actually. You only get brief hearing of him is of the audio of him shouting, saying, "There's cockroaches, there's bugs in here," and actually, at the end, the kid ends up getting killed by going to the electrics, finding the electric panel, and gets shocked to death, like actually gone. Really, so that's a bit of a shock. You don't see it. You just see like explosion from the door, and it's like, just like that, really. Oh, it's a crazy film. Crazy film. It's meant to be set in 1996. So you get stuff like Daft Punk, you get Gary Newman, you get all this like 90s Euro dance techno stuff, drum and bass included in it, really. I can't really tell what songs are included because it's not one really. I could say really if you have the soundtrack to it or if like that, or if you're familiar with the music itself, it's just one of those things. The ending at the end, really, so the police come in. They do. I think it's like it was snowing actually, so it's in December. This was, and during the winter, and the police just come out and see this. Like everyone's just like gone, really. Anyway, like it's a massive body count. Really, it's a film that's surprising. I remember watching it. And this is interesting. So it ramps up just like mad. It does. So yeah. Like I said before, I watched this on night shift. I did. So this is another rare occurrence, and actually, it's one of those rare occurrences that my co-workers decided to change the channel. Believe it or not, because they thought it was too, let's say, vulgar and out there and a bit too violent for their liking. I would say, especially when they're kicking the pregnant woman. Well, basically, when the woman says that she was pregnant, and this basically don't believe her, and like that, really. But also including when she gets mad, she starts self-harming as well, like stabbing her legs and stuff like that. So it's like, okay, so he gets amped up, really just up to 11, with the danger and everything. So that's his other turned off, really. And it was interesting because I really was trying to find. After I kept thinking about it, actually, I should really find out if it's on home media on DVD or something. Luckily, it was. I found him in one of the HMVs, really, and got it, and yeah, I watched it one night and just pleasantly surprised by it, really. I do remember watching or hearing Mark Kermode's review of it, as saying that it's like he's just a bit there on it, really, sort of, and mixed on it, really. Yeah, but it's there for experience. If you're invested in like the time period, it's music, and also how it escalates. It's like it's like watching you stumble in this film for the first time, like I did. Really, it's an interesting thing to go through. Really, I've just got nothing else to say, really. But if you're interested with French films, but also a bit experimental films, if you like techno, everything else, if you like teenagers murdering each other, maybe give this a go, really. And also, don't poison your drinks. Don't spike anyone's drinks, people. No, do not, and don't drink Sagnia. Or Sega? Sagnia? I don't know. How do you pronounce that? That punch drink? I don't know. There we go. That's it, guys. Thank you for watching. As always, see you for the next video. See you guys.